So this is very simple. This is very simple. The issue we're seeing here is plain. Women today are selfish. Women want what they want, and they're married to their desires. They're married to their happiness. It is a woman's job to inspire a man to want to marry her, not the other way around. I think we romanticize this idea that a man should do the courting, be chivalrous, make her want to marry him. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Men who have a purpose, who have a mission in life, they're focused on something. It's the woman's job to come into his life and to prove her worth and the benefit she is to that man. And when she inspires him in that way to show him that she's an asset to his life, then that's when marriage comes in. I think we've forgotten that though, because we overvalue. I want to say this in the most appropriate, the most graphically appropriate way, but we've glorified the coochie so much where we think that that's the main thing, and there's much more that a successful man actually needs. So men did mess this up. This is on women. If women want marriage, they're going to have to stop being selfish and stop putting their happiness and their feelings ahead of the family. And I think then and only then will marriage be inspired, because a man will give a woman what she wants if he deems it worthy. But once selfishness gets in there, is no benefit to a man, especially a man of purpose.
Do you think it's just a woman's happiness, or also men's ego as well? Because a lot of times I do hear like when men talk about how they do lead, and they may, have conversations with their wife when they're making decisions, things like that are inclusive in wanting to get, input from their wife, that they're getting called a simp, or that they're not they're not a leader, because you should never ask your wife for advice or input when you're making a decision, things like that. And again, this may not be the vast majority, but this is what I'm hearing in being in this space, in the YouTube space, about what leadership look like for a man, and that women are just supposed to submit, even when we know that vast majority of Black men have not even had an example of what male leadership looked like in the husband role, because they grew up in women-led households. So I think that's part of the issue too. Women definitely have work, because again, they grew up in single-led households, and not necessarily have seen their moms interact with a man that in a lead, a man that's in a leadership role as well. So I think there's room to say that both need to have some work, but what I hear is that a lot of men are saying, if women just made these changes, if they didn't have attitude, if they just submit, then everything will be all right. But they haven't gotten any direction of what that leadership should look like when they take on a wife. So how do we combat that part?
What's funny about the whole leadership conversation is women. So women are saying that they want a leader, and most of them have never been with one. They've never seen it. So if a man is an actual leader, she has nothing to go off of. Typically, when I hear women say they want a leader, what she's saying is she wants a man to do what she thinks a leader should do. And the problem with leadership is not predicated on what you think a man should do or what you think he should be. To be quite honest, a lot of times leaders have to make decisions that you don't agree with or that you don't like. And there is no perfect blueprint for a man to see and say, now I got it. I got the blueprint. You become that by trial and experiences, by failing. And what examples do is help you to expedite that process and to avoid pitfalls. But it's important for everybody to understand that leaders, you don't see somebody and then you become it. You have to live and get your own experience. And that's how you become a leader. Too many women keep saying that they want a leader and they have no idea how to relate with one. And a lot of them don't even know how to see one when they have it. And so I want women to stop saying what kind of leader they want their man to be and just be a wife. And you'll be amazed at what you inspire in him by just being a good wife.
I think under to mistaken your point, what you're saying is when you look at a man and his leadership, there should be evidence of his capacity to lead. And that is what, as women, we would submit to, because at the end of the day, I trust your leadership because you have a track record of being able to lead. And so I think the key is, not submitting and, submitting to men that don't have that, because at the end of the day, there's not going to be that cohesiveness. She's not going to want to submit, or, choosing a man that doesn't have that capacity.
Absolutely.
So can we dig into this? So, top 3 things a leader does.
For the ladies?
Yep, for the ladies.
I'll speak. I didn't want to because I know I usually talk a lot. Sorry. Go ahead, Della.
Well, I was just saying, for the first thing that came to my mind is the capacity to make decisions. Like, a leader is someone that can make a decision.
I would also say that a leader also has a plan and is able to articulate that plan to others who need to help support that plan.
And for me, I think that it's important to understand that leadership in the workplace is totally different from leadership in the home. Because you can be a great businessman, but you can be a sucky husband. So they don't go hand in hand.
Most great businessmen are sucky husbands.
That's a fact.
So for me, it's just protected. I mean, lead our family in the right direction, inspire our kids, be a great example for our kids. That's the big one for me.
And I would say
lead by example.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Yes. If you want peace, I think you have to exhibit what peace looks like. If you want respect, you have to exhibit what respect looks like. So I think as a leader, you are going to lead by example so everyone can follow.
Sir Harold, before you go, I just want to say that y'all realize that y'all outlined pretty much the basic premise of having common decency. Right? Like this is to show that men really, as long as you have respect and common decency, you should be eligible for a woman, right? Because it goes in, like, people always want to say what a good man is. I've summarized it to say a good man is just a man who solves more problems than he causes. And that should make you eligible for a woman, right? His propensity or proclivity to lead in another group of men has really no bearing on his ability to lead his own home with his wife and children. Those two things are completely different.